Welcome, my name is Alex Ramosi. I'm the CEO of acquisition.com. If you're new to the channel, we help $3 to $10 million businesses scale and exit so they only have to get rich once. If you're below $3 million a year in revenue, then everything I have here is to get you to hopefully get to $3 million a year. And I do it absolutely free because I just want you to get more value than anything that you have to buy online and buy $1,000 courses and $10,000 coaching programs. I just want to give it all to you because honestly, I don't need your money. All right, we had 4 companies that we continue to still own at this day. We've scaled to $112 million, and so I just want everyone to be rich. That's really what I want. All right, so in the last two trainings, I talked about picking the right market by finding a starving crowd, figuring out how to charge what it's worth. And in this video, this is one of my most impactful concepts that has changed my life, and it's understanding how to create value out of thin air. It's understanding the perception around value in your prospects' minds. All right, if you want to check out the other videos, you can go to acquisition.com, but let's dive in. All right, so the value equation, offer component number 3. All right, so your offer might not be converting because what you are offering is not valuable enough. Simply put, it is not valuable enough. So we have to increase the value itself. And in order to increase the value, you have to understand what makes value, what creates value from a perception, from a perceptual standpoint. All right, what is the framework? So here's how you can increase value. All right, so there's 4 pieces, and this is this equation. All right, so you can screenshot this, you can write this down. This equation changed my life. It took me a long time to kind of come up with this and rework it. And I believe that this is the best distillation of these ideas, which is you have to make sure, like, the better the dream outcome, the better the outcome of what we are selling someone, the more value the person is going to have and attach to our service or product. The likelihood that they achieve that outcome with our service and product in and of itself increases value. And I'm going to explain what that means in a second. Now you have this big line, all right? So those are the things that increase value, is the stuff on the top side of the equation. And the stuff on the bottom side of the equation are the things that decrease value, all right? Which is, how long is it going to take them? What's the time delay between purchase and achieving the result? And then effort and sacrifice, which is how much are they going to have to do? How much are they going to have to suffer in order to get the result? And so if you think about this from a theoretical standpoint, if I could achieve this amazing dream outcome with 100% likelihood and it happened instantly and they didn't have to do anything, that would be the ultimate valuable thing, right? That is the idea. And so in theory, someone could just think of something because it's so easy to transact with my business and it literally appeared in front of them with no effort immediately. And it was exactly the way we wanted. That would be supremely valuable. And that is the idea that we're chasing after. And I think all of us entrepreneurs should be chasing that hypothetical perfection. And if you think about that as your gold standard, then you always have a direction to be able to move your products and services in. All right. So let's break down each of these in more detail. So dream outcome. Is the end result meaningful to them? So a lot of times, especially newer entrepreneurs, they always think they have to do something like crazy unique. And a lot of times you just need to be really good at the thing. None of the businesses I've had have been really unique. They've just been better at doing a core thing and solved a unique problem in a nuanced way, right? And so fundamentally, we have our person here. Hopefully you can see it in the video, little guy. And the end result is they have, where they're on top of this little mountain of achievement. And this little path, this travel, is that as long as there's a gap between there, then there's an outcome that they don't have that they would like to have, right? And so the reason that I bring this one up is that this is most important when understanding the price points between different industries or different problems being solved. So for example, if I could make you $1 million, right, then that would be more meaningful for many people than losing 20 pounds. Right? It just is, right? And so because that might be more meaningful to you, you'd be willing to pay me more for that outcome, which inherently means that if you want to make more money, figure out ways to solve more expensive problems, right? So point number 1 is making sure that the dream outcome for your prospects is meaningful to them. All right. The second is around risk. All right. So this is the perceived likelihood of achievement. Do they think they're actually going to succeed if they buy from you? Right? So let me give you an example around this. If I had 2 surgeons that you were thinking about getting a procedure from, all right, and for one guy, it was his first surgery out of medical school, and the other guy was his 10,000th surgery, right? Which one would you be willing to pay more for? Well, probably the 10,000th guy, right? But here's what's ironic. It probably takes that guy less time than the first hour surgeon, right? But that's okay because we're willing to pay that because our perceived likelihood of him doing a good job is significantly higher. And the reason that's valuable to us is because it decreases our risk of a negative outcome. And so in a real way, the more success you create for clients, the more future value you create. So if I had only built one multiple 8-figure business, then, I would have something to land on, right? But if I've built 5, right, then you see that as a more repeatable outcome, right? It's more likely that what I'm doing is good, right? And statistically, just as a fun fact for you, it's 0.4%. So 1 in 250, 1 in every 250 businesses is an 8-figure business. And so it would be a 0.4% chance to achieve it one time. If I've done it 5 times, then the likelihood would be 0.4 times 0.4 times 0.4 times 0.4 times 0.4, which equals a very, very, very low number. Or there's a successful framework that we can repeat over and over again. All right, and that's why we've been able to do that. And so it's because this stuff works. All right, so 1 is the outcome, 2 is increasing the perceived likelihood. We do those 2 things, and this is what I did for the majority of my career in the beginning. Is I spent a lot of my time trying to increase the perceived outcome and the perceived likelihood of achievement. And the important point here is that we're increasing the perceived likelihood of achievement. Right? You could get 100% of your clients' results, but if they don't know that, then they're not going to be able to perceive the value. So it's making sure that we also communicate the likelihood of their success. All right. Now, underneath of that line, we have the time delay. How long will it take them to see the final result, and how long will it take them to see an initial result? So those are 2 aspects of the time delay. So if I were to work with you and say, hey, I'll give a weight loss example, is just simple and easy for everyone. If I said, hey, work with me and tomorrow you'll have a 6-pack, that would be significantly more valuable than you've got to wait a year to get a 6-pack, right? And that's how like one of the easiest ways to provide value and crush a marketplace that's already established is go in, find the big thing that everyone else is doing, do it in half the time, right? That's how you can create value like that, super easily, all right? And so you can always think about time as a component of value because people value their time more than anything. I mean, think about, and as a pro tip, fast beats free. So even if there's free players in your marketplace, you can beat free by simply being faster, right? People walk and instead they take an Uber because it's faster, right? People used to have USPS for postal, but they prefer to do FedEx because when it always, absolutely must be there overnight, right? And the point, and that was their value proposition, was speed, was FedEx. Their whole value proposition was speed. All right, and so they had a player that was significantly cheaper than them, but they were able to get there based on time delay. How long is it going to take them to see their final result? All right, and if you have something that's going to be a long time for them to see a result, then is there a way that we can trigger them progress and show them progress on the way there so that we can increase the perceived value of the thing that we are selling? All right, and then finally, the 4th component of this is effort and sacrifice. So what are the additional costs and inconveniences that they must incur to achieve this result? What's the sweat they have to put into this? Do they have to put this box uphill, right? Of course not. Or hopefully not, right? And so the idea is if we can increase this top side and decrease this bottom side, then we're going to create a tremendous amount of value for our prospects, all right? And so the idea here is increase the desire and promise, decrease the time and effort and sacrifice, and that is how you create ultimate value, okay? And so this is how I like to think about this in a real world example, right? I said money versus fitness. For most people, making money is going to be a higher perceived outcome, all right? So that's going to be more valuable. All right. If I were like talking about cool sculpting, all right, as an example here, versus lifting weights, this is something that people are paying more for than they pay for a Beachbody Online workout membership, right? Why are they willing to do that when the outcome is the same, right? Why are they willing to do that? It's because of the other aspects of this equation. If someone does cool sculpting, the likelihood that they think they're going to achieve a flatter stomach is very high because they just think they're going to pay, the machine's going to happen, and they're going to pee out the extra fat, and they're good. The time delay on this is super. Look, no surgery, no downtime. They even say the value in the actual advertisement itself. And the effort and sacrifice is nothing. They don't have to change how they eat. They don't have to start working out. They don't have to be sore. They don't have to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. They don't have to change the way they cook. They don't have to do any of that stuff, right? And so as a result, people pay $2,500, $5,000 for stuff like this, and they won't pay more than $10, $20 a month for something like that, even though the outcome is the same. That is how you can deconstruct and recreate value. All right. And so if we're looking at this, I just went through all 4 of those variables, so I'll skip through it. If you're looking at this, it's wake up skinny, right? That's the value proposition. Or eat less, be sore, discomfort, etc., right? Obviously, that's not going to be as valuable, which is why the top side is more. Now, for me, as a hypothetical thing for everyone here, a theoretical, this is one of the concepts that I like to talk about, which is getting the bottom to zero. And so as I've developed as an entrepreneur, I used to focus a lot on increasing the desire and perceived likelihood. That's what was lots of testimonials, lots of dream outcomes. But as I've developed and I look at bigger businesses and enterprises, I really have spotted the fact that they focus most of their time on getting the bottom to zero, right? Think about Amazon, for example. They've consistently invested in getting things done faster, right? They've consistently invested in decreasing effort and sacrifice, right? The sacrifice is going to be the risk that you buy something that's bad, so they put the reviews on there. The effort is going to be around, you just click with one button. There's no inconvenience. You don't have to type all this stuff, and you click with one button, and then it's literally at your doorstep in the next day. And maybe by the time you watch this, in 2 hours or 1 hour, right? As they've been able to move closer and closer to that dream outcome, and the reason, to that outcome. And the idea is that they focus ruthlessly on getting the bottom to zero. And that is where you can create, in theory, infinite value. All right. And so look at these things, Netflix, for example, it's immediate. You can just start watching all of your favorite shows without having to pick, because they'll recommend the shows that they think you're going to like more, and you can do it immediately. Versus a Blockbuster competitor where you have to get in your car, go there, peruse. You might not know what the rating is or if you're going to like it based on your tastes, right? They literally provide so much more value. They decrease the risk of wasting time watching something you don't like, and they make it immediately available to you. And that is why these companies are so valuable, right? And so when I think about building an enterprise of true value, I think so much more now about the effort and sacrifice. How can I make this more convenient? How can I make this more seamless? How can I have this happen more immediately for the prospect or customer to provide value in a way that no one else is, right? And so that is the value equation. Those are the 4 variables. The goal is to get the bottom to 0. It's all about perception of the prospect, not just doing it, but making sure they perceive that they're going to have less time delay. They're going to perceive that they're going to be very likely to achieve it. They're going to perceive that there's not a lot of inconvenience for them. So as long as we can communicate those things, then the end result of the product that we have is more valuable. And so when you think about your product right now, I want you to think about each of these 4 variables. I want you to think about the dream outcome, perceived likelihood, time delay, and effort and sacrifice, and think about how you can recombine those things to create a more valuable product. All right. And so with that, we covered Starving Crowd. We covered Charging What It's Worth, which you can find both of those videos at acquisition.com under the offers training. It's absolutely free. It's advanced training. I have many more trainings there. We finished the value equation. In the next video, we're going to talk about actually creating the offer that you're going to present to the marketplace. So these were concepts that we had to understand first before we could actually put and assemble the pieces together, which is what we're going to do in the next video. All right. Super excited. Hope you're digging this with me. Check out more at acquisition.com, and I'll see you in the next vid. Bye.